Here is something nobody tells you about your corporate job. They are not prisons. They are your launchpad. But most people are busy complaining about those bars that they never notice the rocket ship that they're sitting on. Right now, while you're watching this video, there are people in your exact industry. I'm talking about same title, same paycheck, maybe even sitting in the same cubicles who are making an additional $5,000, $10,000, even $20,000 per month. And they didn't quit their jobs to do it. They didn't follow their passions to do it. They didn't burn any bridges or make any dramatic LinkedIn announcements. What they did was simple. They stopped trying to escape corporate and started using it as a fuel. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you the corporate escape plan. But here's the twist. The corporate escape plan doesn't require you to leave your job. I want us to agree on that first. In fact, leaving too soon is exactly what kills most people's dreams. But stay with me, because what I'm about to show you and share with you goes against everything the hustle influencers are telling you. And by the way, it works better. But first, we need to talk about why you want to escape in the first place. Because if you don't get this right, you'll just end up broke and bitter, scrolling through job boards at 2 a.m., begging for your old life back. I hope you know someone who is in that same situation. First, let me tell you a story about Sarah. Sarah was a marketing manager at a mid-sized tech company. 8 years in, good salary, respected by her team, but absolutely done with the corporate. You know that. You know that feeling, right? The endless meetings, the politics, the knowing you could do your boss's job better than he does, but he makes twice what you make because he got there before you. So Sarah did what everyone on the internet told her to do. She quit. Gave her 2 weeks, walked out with her head held high, posted on LinkedIn about betting on herself and pursuing her dreams. Got something like 847 likes and a bunch of comments saying, "So brave, go girl," and all this kind of thing. But exactly 8 months later, Sarah was back in her corporate. This time, different company, but same frustration. But now with even a much lower salary and a whole lot of embarrassment. Now, what happened? Sarah made the same mistake most people make. She thought the problem was her job, yet it wasn't. The problem was that she had no idea what she was escaping to. Here is the thing about escaping. If you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there. And most roads lead straight back to where you started. This is why most corporate escapees end up either broke or back in the corporate within a year, or even sometimes both within the same time. But it doesn't have to be that way, because there is a different path, a smarter path, a path that uses corporate job as the training ground, uses corporate job as the funding source, uses corporate job as the credibility, a builder for what comes next. I call it the corporate escape plan. And unlike Sarah's plan, this actually works. But you must have a total mind change. And so this mind change I'm suggesting goes like this. Before we get even into the strategy, I kind of need you to change your perspective about certain things. And the first thing is that your corporate job is not your enemy. I want us to agree on that. Your corporate job is not your enemy. I know it feels like it sometimes. Trust me, I've spent a lot of time with people who have spent more than 2 decades in the corporate. I'm talking about HR executives, board positions, the whole corporate industry complex. I have been there with them. They have sat in meetings so useless that they should have been in emails. They have dealt with politics. They have been so toxic places that they needed hat suits. But here's what each one of them learned. Your corporate job is the most expensive business education you will ever get. And guess what? They are paying you to take it. That's the beautiful part. Because think about it. Every problem you solve at work, think about it. Every problem you solve at work, that's a case study. Every system you build, that's intellectual property. Every difficult conversation you navigate, that's a skill you can teach. So your job isn't holding you back. It is loading you up. Like Neo, remember Neo in the Matrix? You think you are trapped in the system, but really you are learning the code. And once you know the code, you can bend reality. That is what the corporate escape plan is about. So the question isn't, how do I escape? The question is, how do I extract maximum value from the experience before I leave? That is the question. And that's exactly what we're about to cover. Now, I have built this so that you follow me clearly and understand it. So if I'm to break down the framework, I've broken it down into phases. And there are only 3 phases that we're going to look at. So let us look at phase 1. What is phase 1? Phase 1, we call it the harvest. So phase 1 is the harvest, like you are still employed. Phase 2 is validate, still employed, but now testing. Phase 3 is transition, strategically reducing dependence. Now notice, I didn't say quit anywhere in these phases. There's no mention of quit there. That's because quitting is the result of successful escape plan, not the start of it. You do not quit as you start. You quit because you've successfully executed the plan. But most people do it backwards. They quit first, or they wait to be fired first. Sometimes you don't quit, but you're waiting to be fired. Then they try to figure out what to do. No, that's like jumping out of the plane and then trying to build a parachute on your way down. It can't work. You're going to fall down and you're going to break into pieces. So I want you to know this, that if you jump out of the plane, gravity is undefeated. You cannot beat gravity. So let's look at the smart way. That is what I'm presenting to you. So the smart way is this: build the parachute while you are still in the plane. Test it. Make sure it works. Then you jump. Because there is building the parachute and then you don't test it, and then you're testing when you're jumping. Guess what? You realize this wing is not working. You're on the floor and you're dead. So I want to break down for you each of these phases so that we systematically or in a very structural way learn how to be able to prepare for our success beyond corporate, beyond the office. So let's look at phase 1. We said phase 1 is harvest. Harvest phase. So what is it about the harvest phase? This is where you mine your current job for everything it's worth. I mean everything. And I'm using that word mining, right? So if you're talking about mining everything in your current job, then let's look at some 4 steps to harvesting or to mining. Step 1 of the mining process of the harvest phase is this: document your solution. You want to write that down. Document your solution. Right now, you are solving problems every day at your work, problems that other people in your industry would pay to know how to solve. For you, you are solving them. Why don't you write that down? The challenge is this: you are not documenting them. You solve the problem, you check the box, you move to the next fire drill, and all that knowledge just evaporates. There's no documentation. So stop doing that. Start keeping what I call a victory journal. Think about it. Your victory journal. Each time you solve a significant problem, write that down. Write it down. What the problem was. What you did to solve the problem. What the result was. What you learned that others could apply. Do this for 90 straight days and you'll have enough content for a year's worth of training program. That's step number 1. Step number 2, identify your leverage points. What do I mean? You see, not every corporate skills are created equal. Some skills are commodities. I mean, everyone has them. But others are what I call the leverage points. They are rare, they are valuable, they are in demand. So your leverage point is the intersection of 3 things. If you think about it, there are 3 things. 1, what are you exceptionally good at? I want to identify that. 2, what people are actually struggling with. You know, you come back and realize that the things you do every day, everything's messed up because people are struggling to do that. Note that down. And 3, what you can teach in a structured way. So what is it that I can explain to someone in a structured way? So for most people, it's not their job title. Even you, it may not be your job title, but it is a specific problem that you solve within your job. For example, you are not an HR manager. You are the person who reduced turnover by 40% in 6 months. That's what I'm talking about. You are not just a project manager. You are the person who brings cross-functional teams together when everyone else has given up. That's what I'm talking about. For example, you are not a financial analyst. You are the person who makes complex financial data make sense to non-finance people. That is what I'm talking about. Do you see the difference? The first one is a title. The second one is transformation. So titles are commodity. Transformation are leverage. Step number 3, we are in the first phase of harvest. Step number 3 is what? Build your proof library. Build your proof library. While you are still employed, collect evidence of your expertise. Screenshot of results, before and after metrics, testimonials from colleagues, those LinkedIn recommendations. Collect them. Examples of frameworks that you've built, problems that you've solved. So this isn't about bragging. This is about having proof when it's to sell, time to sell. Because here's the truth. Nobody believes you can help them until you show them you have helped someone else. It's funny because then we will be the first. But nobody believes you can help them until you can be able to show them that you have helped somebody else. So your current job is the easiest place to build that proof. Don't waste it. Don't waste it. And the last step in my first phase is what I call steal the curriculum. Steal the curriculum. So I'm going to tell you something controversial. Your employer is designing your offer for you. Let me repeat that again. Your employer is designing your offer for you. You just have to pay attention. You just have to pay attention. So every training you take, that's a market research. Every skill gap you see, that's a product opportunity. Every question you get asked repeatedly, that's a course module. Your company is literally showing you what people need to succeed in your field. Your company is doing that, and they're paying you to learn it. So I want you to take notes. I want you to take this principle seriously. When I was in my corporate space, I paid attention to every training program. I'm talking about every onboarding process, every when they're developing anything that was happening, I paid attention to it. Not because I loved the corporate training, I didn't, but because I would reverse engineer what the market would pay for. And that's the secret. Reverse engineer. This thing that they're teaching us, what happens in the market. So that research is worth tens of thousands of dollars, and you're getting it for free. And well, not for free, you're getting paid to collect them. So that is our phase 1. So I want us to move to phase 2. So phase 2, remember we said, is validate. Phase 1 was harvest, and now you have harvested. Phase 2 is validate. This is where most people mess up. They build something nobody wants. I'm talking about spending months creating it, and they want to know why nobody's buying it. So don't be that person. So guess what? Validation means testing your offer before you build it. Testing your offer before you build it. So while you still have a page here to fall back on, how do you do that again? Let's get into steps. Step number 1, I call it the micro offer test. So what about the micro offer? So create the smallest possible version of your offer. I'm talking about the bare bones, not a 12 weeks program, maybe something like a 2-hour workshop, not a comprehensive course, maybe just a single template. I'm not talking, not a mastermind where you invite people for a master, no, just a strategy session. So, and then price it low, maybe $97, maybe $197, maybe $497 if you're feeling bold. So the goal isn't to make money. At this point, you are not yet ready to make money. The goal here is to answer 2 critical questions. Question number 1, will people pay for this? That's question number 1. Will people pay for this? And question number 2, can I actually deliver the value? So if the answer to both is yes, and a big yes, you've got something. But if it is not, guess what? You've saved yourself months of wasted effort. But remember, you still have your job anyway. So this brings me to step number 2. I call it the coffee shop offer. Remember, we're in the validation process, the validation phase. So the coffee shop offer. What is it about? This is my favorite by the validation method. So while you are still employed, start having coffee chats with people in your network who have problems you solve. Have coffee chats with them. Have coffee chats with them. Now, not to sell them, but to listen. Ask them, what's your biggest challenge with this problem? Ask them, what have you tried to fix? Ask them, why didn't it work? Ask them, if you could have a magic wand and that can fix this whole thing tomorrow, what would it look like? I want to do this to 10 and to 15 people, and you'll know exactly what to build, and then how to price it, and what language to use when you sell it. All while you are still getting paid by your employer. This brings step number 3, the pilot program. So once you've validated that people want what you're offering, run a small pilot program, maybe 3 to 5 people. Maybe live delivery, maybe discount the price in exchange for testimonials and feedbacks. So this accomplishes 3 key things you want to write down. 1, you get proof that your method works. That's number 1. Number 2, you get testimonials before you need them. And number 3, you refine your process so it is scalable. And here's the beautiful thing. You can do all this on nights and weekends while keeping your first-time income. Your full-time income. You can do all these things in the evenings. You cannot do this in the weekend. So you are not gambling with your mortgage. You are not testing. You are simply testing with your surplus time. And that is what smart entrepreneurship is. And that's what I call the corporate escape plan. So this brings me to phase 3, which is our last phase. And that is now the transition. So phase number 3 is transition. This is the phase where you start shifting your dependence from your employer to your business. But you don't jump. I said you shift. So remember I said you should shift, not jump. So let's look at the steps. What is step number 1? Step number 1, I call it the safety threshold. The safety threshold. So what is it about the safety threshold? Before you even think about reducing hours or leaving your job, you need to hit what I call the safety threshold. So the safety threshold, what does this mean? Your business income needs to consistently generate at least 50% of your living expenses for at least 6 months. Hope that came out clearly. Your business income needs to consistently generate at least 50% of your living expenses for at least 6 months. Not one good month, and then not maybe like a quarter, but I'm talking about 6 consecutive months of consistent revenue. Why 50%? Because that's the point where living becomes a calculated risk instead of a reckless gamble. And I don't want to do a reckless gamble. So if your business can cover half your expenses, you can probably live on savings plus business income while you scale. If you can't, you are not yet ready. Accept it. So don't get excited, or don't let excitement override mathematics. Mathematics will always beat excitement all the time. So step number 2 is what I call the gradual shift. So step number 1 is the threshold, the safety threshold, and step number 2 is the gradual shift. Remember, we are in the 3rd phase. So once you hit the safety threshold, you have options now. What are these options? If you could be seated, write this down. Option 1, negotiate part-time or consultant status with your current employer. Yes, this is possible, and I have helped multiple clients do this. That's option 1. Option 2, take a lower stress job in your field that gives you more mental space, because you're looking at mental space that allows you to do your thing. So you're trading some income for time and energy to grow your business. So you say, okay, let me get something lower, but it will give me more time so I can have more energy. Option number 3, keep your job, but establish clear boundaries. No more giving above and beyond for people who aren't going to pay you what you're worth. So make sure that, you simply do what you're supposed to do and you're out of there. But notice all these options is not some dramatic quit or just hoping for the best. No, that is what amateurs do. Professionals build bridges. They don't burn them. So our step number 3 then is what I call the exit strategy. So eventually you reach this point where your business income exceeds your salary. When that happens for a period of 6 months consistently, then you can consider leaving. But even then, I recommend doing it gracefully. Give proper notice. Train your replacement if possible. Live on good terms. Stay connected to your networks. Why? Because your former employer and colleagues are your future clients. They are your referral sources and testimonials. So banned bridges are expensive. Smart exits are profitable. But I think this still requires a big mindset shift. Because now I know what some of you are thinking. Coach Richard, this sounds slow. This sounds slow. I want out now. I hate my job. I can't wait 2 years or 3 years or a whole year to build an escape plan. I hear you. I have been there. But let me give you some truth. The people who hate their job the most are usually the ones who need them the longest. Yes, the people who hate their job the most, they're the ones who need it the longest. Why? Because that hatred is emotional. It's emotional. It's not strategic. And emotional decisions lead to broke decisions. So here's the frame you need. Your job isn't a prison sentence. It's a paid internship for your future business. Every meeting you had, that's training in patience and professionalism. Every difficult client, that's training in conflict resolution right there. Every system you build, that's intellectual property you're going to sell later. So every paycheck, that's funding for your business without going into debt. So your job is literally paying you to build your escape plan. The question isn't, how fast can I get out? That's a wrong question. The question is, how much value can I extract before I leave? How much value can I extract? You want to leave pregnant. You want to leave ready. You want to live with a lot of value. So think about it this way. If you're mining for gold, you don't leave the mine after finding the first nugget. You keep digging until you've extracted everything valuable in there. Then you leave. That is the same situation with you. So why am I talking this? Let me show you what this looks like in real life. My client Ruth Wangui, CPA and HR manager, she didn't storm out of the office. She documented what was burning her out. So she created authentic living program for other banded corporates. And now she's helping people while keeping her financial security. The same thing with Rosa Dem, 18 years in finance. She couldn't just quit and follow her passion. Instead, she used her corporate experience to create the financial reporting clarity inside program. Now, non-profits pay her for the exact expertise she built on someone else's dime. The same thing with Catherine Mahome, insurance executive, FC double I certified. Don't even know what that means, but she didn't quit her job. She harvested her expertise, validated her insurance leadership accelerator program with small workshops, and now she's building a training empire. So what do all these people have in common? They didn't escape, they graduated from it. Let me repeat that again, they didn't escape, they graduated from it. And they did it without the drama, the financial stress, or the 2 a.m. panic attacks wondering if they made the right decision. See, that's the power of a plan. So here's what happens next. You have a choice. Choice number one, you can keep doing what you've been doing, complaining about your job, scrolling through LinkedIn, daydreaming about freedom, while absolutely doing nothing to create it. 5 years from now, guess what? You will still be in the same place. The only thing is you'll be older and you'll be bitter and wondering why life has passed you on. But there's a second choice. You can start your corporate escape plan, not by quitting, but by harvesting. Not by gambling, but by validating. Not by burning bridges, but by building options. And here is my challenge for you. This is a challenge I want to take. In the next 7 days, do these 3 things. 1, I want you to start your victory journal. Remember? Document every problem you solve at your work this week. Step number 2, identify your leverage points. What's the one thing you do that others struggle with? I want to identify that. And number 3, I want you to have one coffee chat. Talk to someone who has the problem you solve and just listen. That's it. 3 simple actions. And while keeping your job and your paycheck. Okay, drop a comment when you complete all the 3. I will personally review it and give you feedback on your steps. If you do 1, drop a comment for me. If you do 2, drop a comment. And if you want the complete framework, if you want the templates, if you want somebody to hold your hand and be more strategic, I'm talking about with the transition time and all that. I'm going to leave a link in the description for my Tuesday workshop. You want to attend that so that you start the conversation to see how this is done in the real world. But more than anything else, I need you to understand this. I want you to understand this. You don't need permission to escape. You need a plan. But more than anything else, I need you to understand this. You don't need a permission to escape, you need a plan. You don't need to be braver, you need to be smarter. You don't need to quit tomorrow, you need to start building today. The corporate escape plan isn't about running away from something. It's about running towards something. Running towards something that you're building, something worth building. And that something is already inside of you. You just need to package it. It's not outside you, it's inside of you. So if this video shifted how you think about your corporate job, hit that like button. I want you to subscribe if you haven't already, because we are building something special here. We are helping professionals turn their experience into income without losing their mind. So I want you to comment harvest if you are starting your victory journal this week. Comment harvest for me. Comment validate if you're ready to test your first offer. And comment transition if you have already been building and want to know what is next. And remember, don't quit your job, outgrow it. Your next chapter isn't about escape, it's about evolution. I will see you in the next one.